Hello and welcome to Connect, the weekly podcast for the California MBA and featuring one-on-one interviews with movers and shakers in the mortgage industry. I'm Susan Milazzo, CEO of the California MBA, and I'm very happy that you could join us today. Before we get to today's guest, I'd like to thank our Connect podcast sponsor, Incelerate.
Thanks, Susan, and thanks for listening. This is Josh Wren, CEO and founder of Incelerate. We're grateful for our partnership with the CMBA and are committed as a company to help lenders close more loans. We do this with our customer experience platform that has a CRM, lead management, marketing, automation, robust content library, desktop and mobile applications. We do this to help you engage and stay connected to your current borrowers, referral partners, past borrowers, and potential new ones. If you want to find out why we're the fastest growing CRM provider in the mortgage industry, please reach out to us and ask for a demo.
Okay, well, thank you, Incelerate, for your support for our Connect podcast. That brings us to today's guest. I am welcoming Kai Hacker from FileInvite. Good morning.
Good morning, Susan. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. You are currently filming this on United States time, visiting us from New Zealand. So I hope that the adjustment is going well.
Yep, absolutely. It's great being here with our team in Denver.
And thank you for FileInvite support for membership. You guys are new members. Looking forward to working with you and getting you involved with the association as well as our upcoming Mortgage Innovators Conference. So we'll be seeing you there. Kai, I'd love to kind of start out just finding a little bit about your background and about FileInvite.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Susan. My background's a little bit interesting. I started off in banking on a trading floor, and then did several years in consulting, working for PwC and some other consulting firms. Last couple of years, I've really been working with high growth technology companies like FileInvite, and just clocking over 2 years with FileInvite. We've been growing very fast during that time, and I look after the revenue and the operations side of the business.
Okay, all right. And so you guys work with a number of companies, both residential and commercial, which isn't common. We have that in our membership as well. I'd be interested to hear kind of what trends are you seeing in both sides of those lending platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the interesting things about being a software solution and working in the lending industry more broadly is we get to see a lot of different businesses, different organizations, and so we can really see some trends that sort of pull out of that. I think one of the big things that we're seeing is this idea that money is essentially a fungible commodity. That if you're looking for a home loan, or you're looking for development finance, or you're looking to refinance a larger commercial portfolio, money is money, and so people are looking for, I guess, what is the differentiator? Why would I pick to get a mortgage or a loan from one lender versus another? And we're seeing a huge focus in I guess, customer centricity. So lenders being less about selling a product, which is money in this case, and more about the experience that the customer is having. And that's really how they're differentiating themselves, right? We're seeing that people are picking lenders or picking mortgage banks because of the end-to-end experience. It's easy, they've got a trusted relationship, and this blend of sort of human contact and human relationship with really nice, seamless, streamlined digital experiences. So we're seeing I guess, a real focus on businesses trying to get out of I guess more of a old school way of doing business, and trying to streamline as much of the customer experience as they can.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. That's what I'm seeing a lot of our members as well. So then what trends are you seeing from the borrower's perspective? What things are they looking for?
Yeah, look, this is a really interesting one. I think we're in kind of an inflection point where your average home buyer or your average business borrower is used to a lot of digital experiences now. That whether it's Uber to get from one place to another, or Venmo to easily transfer money, we're living in this kind of on-demand, quick, slick digital space now, and that's actually translating into people's relationships with their banks, relationships with their mortgage lenders, relationships with their commercial lenders, and people are kind of building on from what we were saying before around lenders really trying to create this digital experience. customers are expecting it now. And we get people reaching out to us all the time where they're saying, hey, our customers are asking for this. What can you do to help us give them a slick digital experience? So it's, I think, becoming less of a nice to have and more that customers are expecting it. And if you don't have it, you're falling behind.
Right. I think that also, going through the COVID shutdown kind of accelerated all of that, right? I mean, there was such a time where everybody relied on the increase in technology and that digital experience, as you say. So I think that is, that is spot on.
Absolutely. I mean, COVID was a great accelerator. We did some of our largest partnerships that we've ever done very quickly when COVID hit, because we had banks and lenders out there who needed to find a way to transact digitally, that people could no longer come in and
Right.
sign documents or drop off paperwork, and so it really accelerated that. I think COVID accelerated that, and then you've also got a lot of legislative change that's accelerating that, and I think more of a mindfulness around privacy, around cybersecurity, and people wanting to make sure that when they're providing information to a mortgage banker or a broker or their bank, that's being done in a secure way. So there's a lot of tailwind right now accelerating this change. Absolutely.
Right. So we talked a little bit about mortgage industries responding to their borrowers. What themes are you seeing within the companies themselves?
Yeah, I think another interesting thing that we're seeing right now, sort of more operationally within the mortgage industry is a huge amount of margin pressure, and businesses looking to automate where they can, essentially trying to grow their book, but to do that in an efficient way. I guess one of the things that we talk about with our clients is like operations as a strategic advantage. That if you actually look at what your overhead is to write a loan, paying for your originators and your processors and your underwriters, whatever that value chain looks like in your business, that if you can actually streamline and automate a lot of that, it allows you to maintain a higher margin and or price more competitively. And so operations as a strategy is an interesting thing that we're seeing and that we're talking with our customers about. I think there's a lot of businesses. It's a reasonably fragmented industry, and there's a lot of businesses still using very outdated tech stacks, and that all of that eats into your margin. And I'm not talking about your net margin on your actual lending itself, but on how much your overhead takes of that margin that you're making on each loan. I guess as an example, we worked with a community bank in Florida who was growing really fast. They were acquiring some other lenders, and by implementing FileInvite, they were able to 3x the number of loans that they were writing without hiring a single additional loan officer,
Wow.
because we basically were able to automate all of the kind of administrative side of what the loan officers were doing in terms of back and forth on the documentation and trying to figure out what they'd had, getting it all named, getting it into the right place. And so that allowed them to grow really fast and also allowed them to price really competitively while still maintaining a reasonable margin in their business. We work across the whole industry, from residential mortgage lenders right the way up to big commercial and multifamily development work. And we're able to save generally between sort of 2 hours for a residential mom and dad home loan, right the way up to sort of 15 or 20 hours of internal time if you're looking at these, large multifamily development finance. And all of that really goes straight to the bottom line. It allows our clients to do more business without needing to throw man hours at it. I think there's another piece to that operational conversation that we're seeing in the industry, and that's these sort of digital first disruptors, right? And so there's new lenders, both in mortgage and commercial, that are coming to market, and it's really digital first. What that allows them to do is provide this really slick end-to-end experience. What it doesn't allow them to do is to really leverage the relationships that they've built over the years. And I guess where we see this opportunity and where our clients are playing is they have these human relationships and they don't want to lose those. But by combining that with a really good digital experience for their borrowers, essentially they get the best of both worlds, and you end up having a really competitive position there.
Right. And you couldn't be more spot on. Everybody is focused on how to be more efficient, how to increase those margins. And, in the tough market that 22 is proving to be, especially on the residential side of the industry. Kai, you mentioned a moment ago, touched on privacy, cybersecurity issues, and of course the California MBA. The cornerstone of what we do is we're advocates for the industry. We represent the real estate finance industry before the California State Legislature and our regulators, and of course, issues on cybersecurity, privacy are very top of mind for policymakers right now. Do you have any views on how the mortgage industry can respond to the changes in that area?
Yeah, look, I'm glad you brought that up. I think security and privacy is a area that I think, unfortunately, it becomes front of mind for a lot of businesses a little bit too late, and it's a little bit of this ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. They've either had one of their loan officers or their brokers had their inbox compromised, or they've had a privacy issue and that's come forward, and so then they're looking at ways to deal with this. I think increasing your security and compliance posture around holding sensitive information, it's an important thing to do sort of before you need to. It's a little bit like buying insurance. And email is the major attack vector for all cybersecurity. So over 90% of cybersecurity attacks start by a compromised inbox. And if I think about this industry and a lot of our clients before they started working with us, they literally have all of the information required to take out a loan in someone's name for hundreds and thousands of clients within their inboxes. And it's kind of a scary thing to think about. Any attachment you've ever sent anyone, whether that's your driver's license or a utility bill or your bank statement, it's still sitting in their inbox. And we've seen, we had a client recently where one of their loan officers had their inbox compromised for just under 6 minutes. And in those 6 minutes, the attacker was able to download all of this private information on every loan that loan officer had done. That 6 minutes ended up costing them several $1 million to clean up, and they came to us after this and said, "Hey, we've got to find a way of getting all of this information out of our employees' inboxes," which is, I guess, where FileInvite can help on that by being a secure customer portal that allows all of that information to be uploaded in sort of a one-way stream. It gets all of that out of inboxes and is a huge step forward in terms of security posture. I think what you're also seeing is around like the tracking of personal information and the ability where companies need to be able to say, hey, this is all the personal information that we have on you. We can delete it. When that's in people's inboxes and across different conversations, et cetera, it's very, very hard to be able to either delete that on request or to tell a customer what you are holding on them. And so again, by having all of that in a portal like FileInvite, and the document management that sits behind that, you have a really good auditable track of what information you have, and you can meet your legislative requirements much more easily than you can if it's all sitting in inboxes.
Yeah, it's that kind of the culmination of the borrower wanting that digital experience, you wanting to be that customer centric, you've been talked about before, but then also realizing the risk that does pose to your company if you don't have the right products in mind or the right products in place to protect all of that valuable personal information.
Absolutely. I think it's sometimes an area that can be overlooked, but if I think about what I as an executive would be worried about, it's the thousands of people's personal information that's sitting within my organization right now. And am I capturing that in a secure way, and am I managing that in a secure way? And if that wasn't keeping me up at night, it probably should be.
Right, yeah, it's just, what's that saying? It's like, it's not if you're going to get hacked, it's when you're going to get hacked. You just need to be ready for it when it does happen, right?
Absolutely.
So Kai, I wanted to, again, I started out, thanking you for joining the California MBA and also being a part of our big Mortgage Innovators Conference that's coming up here in just a few weeks. Would you mind sharing with our listeners kind of the value of that event?
Yeah, absolutely. No, look, we're really excited to come and be involved in this. I think that it's such a great opportunity to get a lot of people together, look at what is going on in the industry, share ideas. There's a lot of change going on right now, we've been in an environment for years where interest rates kind of were going down forever, and now they're not. And what does that mean for our businesses? What does that mean about how we need to go to market? What does that mean about how we need to change our operations? And I think it's just really a great environment to have those conversations, hear from market leaders and people who are on the cutting edge of this. So I'm really excited both to come and sort of share some of our learnings, but also learn a ton from everyone else who's going to be there.
Great. Well, we are really looking forward to it. I can't believe it's just around the corner, just in a few weeks. So Kai, thank you so much for being a guest on Connect podcast. We've loved having you as today's guest, as well as new members of the California MBA.
Thank you, Susan. It's been been great chatting with you, and we're really excited to be involved.
I look forward to seeing you in person in Anaheim in a few weeks. Thanks also to all of you for joining us today. To access any of our Connect podcast episodes, you can follow us on our YouTube channel. We're also available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and SoundCloud. We'll be back next week with another episode of Connect. We'll see you then.